Hello and welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and today we are in quite some trouble, to say the least. We've got Father Matteo, who ended the last video with a cultist and a deep one just on the outskirts of him. And we had ended with actually getting two cards, both of which were sanity based. And we're going to have to go ahead and read these in order to see what we've actually run into. Now, in the last video I ended and I wasn't able to read these out before the video ended, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. These are going to pertain to just Father Matteo in what looks to be a really bad situation for him. He got necrophobia. And it says, you are not afraid of the darkness exactly, but you are afraid of what the darkness might be concealing. Keep face up. Whenever you end your turn in a space with darkness, suffer one face down horror. So for those of you who aren't familiar with darkness, darkness would be these particular tokens on the bottom of each of those spaces. They signify darkness has appeared in that room without a light source. Father Matteo has candles. So that he's okay that way, but if he was to go into a dark space, he'd suffer a face-down horror. So if anyone to get this, it's good that he got it instead of William, who actually is insane, which is bad in itself. But at least Father Matteo has the candles. Now, he also got hysteria, and that's never good. So this one says, screaming hysterically, you claw at your own flesh with your nails, resolve immediately, flip one damage face up, then flip this card face down. So we're going to go ahead and resolve that right away before we move into the investigator phase, because this was what would have happened in the end of the Mythos phase from the last round. I'm just catching up now, so I just want to let you guys know. I only have one damage, face down damage, I should say, on Father Matteo, and that's because in the last episode, if I recall correctly, he was wounded, so all of his face down damage disappeared. So we're going to flip this up, and hopefully it's not anything worse. Anything worse, than anything worse in general. This one says disfigured. That sounds worse. You cannot bring yourself to look in the mirror. The look on people's faces tells you all you need to know. Keep face up and roll one fewer dice when resolving your influence tests. So that's not good. We've got a disfigured test, or disfigured disadvantage, which is going to stay up all the time. But this one here says we can flip face down. So we can add this to the four which are already here for Father Matteo. So currently he's wounded, but he's now in total for sanity damage up to a total of 6. Now at 6, he's still under his 8, so he's still okay, but he's on the cusp of becoming insane, which is not a good thing. Whereas William, on the other hand, over here, became insane in the last turn, and we're trying to keep him sane. So things are kind of getting out of control here. We need to find a way to finish this mission as fast as possible, because it seems like time is kind of against us here. So we get to begin the investigator phase right now, and we've now cleaned up everything to do with Father Matteo. We've also cleaned up everything to do with William, so we're good. Besides the fact that William on his turn will be stunned, and dazed is the effect that Father Matteo is going to have to handle, which are both, bad enough as it is. So what we're going to do is we'll pick, let's go with William first. So William's stunned, and what stun does is it says, you cannot perform more than a single action during your turn, but then this gets discarded after your turn. So if I go ahead with Father Matteo, who happens to be next to Vanderbilt currently, I could do an attack on Vanderbilt. Now, just so you guys are aware, if I was to go ahead and try to pick up the axe or do anything other than go after him, I would have to do an evade check on him, and I just don't feel like that's the smart move. I need to go after him as soon as possible. So I'm going to have William actually do an attack against him using the broken bottle, which isn't exactly the strongest weapon ever, but just for lack of time, I'm going to go after him with that broken bottle and hope to do some damage, knowing I only have one action to do so. So let's go into this and pick Vanderbilt as our enemy. We're going to go ahead and we're going to attack him, and we're using the broken bottle item, which is considered, this is considered a bladed weapon. So as you can see noted right there. So we're going to go ahead and pick the bladed weapon to see what happens. It says you spring forward with a flurry of quick thrusts, probing for an opening. Use your agility, looking for 2. So the agility on William is actually a 3. Now the good thing is we do have a clue to burn, and that's something we need to keep in mind that'll help us out. We'll take our 3 dice and we'll go ahead and roll those and hope to get as many elder signs as possible, but we're just looking for 2, so hopefully this pans out. Nice, so we got 2 plus that's awesome. So we passed the check. If you pass, your blade pierces the enemy's flesh, the monster suffers damage equal to the weapon's damage plus your test result. So this is great news. So we get the bottle damage of 1 plus the 2, and even better, I can take this clue, which I'm going to do, and I'm going to cash this clue in order to turn this magnifying glass into a 3rd elder sign, giving me 3 damage on top of the 1 for the bladed, which gives Mr. Vanderbilt 4 damage, which is a crazy high attack for just using a whiskey bottle. 2 away from killing him. That's insane. So now we get to continue. That's great news. We were able to do quite a bit of damage on him. But the problem is that's the end of William's turn. So this stunned effect now is going to go away. We'll discard it. I will later shuffle it back into the deck. We'll take a look over now at his effects that are currently in play to see if anything happens to affect William. So this one says claustrophobia. Whenever you end your turn within range of 2 or fewer spaces, suffer 1 face down horror. That is going to be the case here because range-wise 1 and 1, like he's within an enclosed space. He's within range 2, or fewer spaces. So he's going to kind of get, his claustrophobia is going to kind of trigger. We're going to have to take a face down horror, which is too bad. So this is going to put him up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in total. Once we get to 7, he's going to get eliminated. That's because he's already insane from prior rounds, which is not good. So we'll go down the line here and check his paranoia now. Now his paranoia says, whenever you end your turn within a range of another investigator, you flip 1 horror up. Good thing is that he's kind of confined himself to the attic space. So Father Matteo in this space over here, which if I'm correct is a bedroom space and is also through a door, so this is not going to affect William. So he's not going to have to deal with paranoia on this turn, so that's good news. There's nothing else that I can do in terms of his character. I don't gain a clue because I wasn't able to actually defeat Vanderbilt here, but that's my goal on the next turn. Now coming over to Father Matteo, we'll take a look at what he has to deal with, and he's dazed from the last turn. And it says, you cannot spend clues to convert dice results or perform additional puzzle steps. At the end of your turn, discard this card. So he's dazed. So that's okay because it's a good card for him to have because he doesn't have any clues, so this is a good time for him to have that. It doesn't really affect us all that much, but his issue is not that he's insane, but he's wounded, so once he gets to 6 damage total, he will be eliminated from the game, and currently he has only 1, so we're doing all right, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he's 2 away from going insane, which is also bad. Now, Father Matteo has a lot more action to kind of deal with. However, he does have 2 actions. So let's take a look at the cultist and the deep one that's in this space. And one thing I want to make note of is that you'll notice this deep one here has a green icon. Now, what's really strange to me is when I saved the this whole app in the last video, you'll notice down there that the deep one here, which has the icon, actually is red. Now, you think that's kind of strange as if I made a mistake, but actually the app itself, for some strange reason, took the green icon and flipped it to red now that the red was taken out in a prior episode. So really strangely, the app has kind of changed the icon on me. So I went back and looked at the previous episode to make sure I wasn't going crazy, because as much as people are going insane in this game, I thought I was losing my mind. But actually the app itself had changed this character's, this deep one's icon from green to red. So I'm just going to change it so that at least it's in line with what the app says. You guys can go back in previous episodes to see that I'm not going nuts. It really was correct. The way I had played it was correct, but for some strange reason the app has now signified that only there's 2 deep ones left. One doesn't have a sign at all because he was the first one in play, and the second one here is now red, which was green before and came through right here. So anyway, just thought I'd mention that so you guys don't think anything weird happened. But it looks like when I saved, it just kind of automatically updated the icon, and so I'm doing that now. The good thing, the thing just to note though, is both of those deep ones have no damage on them, so there was nothing changed, just the icon updated. So now let's go ahead with Father Matteo's turn. Now he's got 2 turns. Now his biggest threat's going to be the cultist who's in the room with him. The cultist currently has 2 damage on him. He needs 3 to be taken out. That makes sense for Father Matteo to focus on the cultist, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do a brass knuckles attack, which is an unarmed attack, giving me 2 extra dice against him. So I'm going to go ahead with that. I'm going to attack the cultist as my first action. Unarmed, we're going after him. So you unleash a fury of quick punches, hoping enough of them will hit and make a difference. Use your agility and try to go for 2 successes. We've got 2 on the agility, or sorry, 3 on the agility here for Father Matteo. So we'll take 3 dice. The bonus being, if we're using brass knuckles, we get to roll 2 additional dice when attacking unarmed. So now we get a total of 5, and we're looking for 2 successes based on the app. So let's see what happens. Easy, we got those. If you pass, you catch your foe a number of times in the chest and stomach, and it doubles over in pain. The monster suffers damage equal to your test results plus 1. Guaranteed, being that he's at 2 and we're at a 3. That's more than enough. This cultist has been killed. So we've taken, Father Matteo has taken out this cultist from the room. This is awesome news, because he really needed to do that, being that there's so many monsters bearing down on him now. He needs to do his best to try to stay alive. Now, he's got 1 more action, and this is where I'm going to pull the Wither spell out. And for the Wither spell, I'm going to do this as my second action against this monster right here. So let's find the one that's red, which is this guy right here. We're going to make an attack with a spell and hope for the best. You struggle to contort your hands into an appropriate arcane gesture. Use your agility to 2. So agility again is 3. We're looking for a 2. Now with this particular situation, we don't have any bonuses from the brass knuckles because it's not an unarmed attack. So the downside is we got to use 3 dice and hope to get 2 successes. Little tougher than, very tough actually. Overall, we got a magnifying glass and an elder sign. Now, I don't think I have... No, this one here is candles. It says you may discard this card to convert all magnifying glasses to elder signs when casting a spell. So I could do this to give me the 2 that I need. This is the interesting... Let me think. Do I do it now or do I not do it now? You know what? This might be the time, being that things are so sketchy. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get rid of the candle. So it says you may discard this card to convert all magnifying glasses to elder signs while casting a spell. This Wither is a spell. I'm getting rid of the candles. I don't know if that's worthwhile, but it's going to allow me to change this magnifying glass to an elder sign, giving me 2 successes. And it says, if you pass, your hands suddenly freeze in place and a jolt of black lightning leaps toward your enemy. The monster suffers damage equal to the spell's damage. The spell's damage, as you can see for Wither, is a 2. So 2 damage is going to hit this particular deep one right here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to push him up 2. He only needs 1 more to be taken out. Then it says here, then flip the spell you attacked with. So let's flip that Wither spell and see if we get anything else from it. This one says, for once, the spell seems to go exactly as written in that old book. No additional effect. Then discard the spell and gain another one. So we're going to go ahead and take this Wither spell, put it over here. And it looks like we get to actually pick another one from the deck. So we'll go ahead and take another one, add it into our pile, and we've got an additional Wither spell for later. So sadly, we didn't get that extra damage, which is what I would have wanted. But at least we put some damage on the deep one that was still in play. So that's it. We've now done 2 actions with Father Matteo. This one says you cannot spend clues to convert dice, but it didn't say, or perform additional puzzle steps, but it didn't say we couldn't throw away our candles. So that's why we were allowed to use that. The daze now is no longer in effect. I'm going to discard that as well. I'll be shuffling those in between videos. William here did his 1 action because he was stunned. So everything now is complete for the investigator phase. So now we can move into the Mythos phase. Now the great thing about this, the only positive, is we put a decent amount of hits against Vanderbilt, and we only have 2 deep ones left. So really we're just hoping that, well, really we're just hoping we can survive whatever's coming here in the Mythos phase. So let's go ahead and close the monster drawer and go ahead and fire off the end of the investigator phase. Moving into the Mythos phase, it says, without warning, your feet take off under someone else's command. After what seems like hours, you are back where you started, and the exhausting trip ends. Each investigator suffers 2 face down damage. Wow. And your strength negates. So let's go ahead with Father Matteo first. His strength is 3. We're looking for as many successes as possible. I'll just use the 3 dice in here. We just need 2 in order to negate the damage that we already currently have coming against us. Otherwise, we take 2 face down. Please give us 2 successes. We got it. So Father Matteo takes absolutely no face down damage. And that's really good because he was currently wounded in the last or prior videos. And so any more damage to him would put him dangerously close to being eliminated. So that was great. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with William York, who nicely has 4 dice to roll for his strength. Has nothing else that'll add to that, but at least the one character that was weak in terms of strength, in terms of being eliminated, is safe. And now hopefully William, who's insane, can handle this particular trip he's on. He got, oh look at that, one of the dice went out of the tray, but it looks like we got enough, easily 3. So we got enough to negate all of that, so nothing happens there. Now what's going to happen? So it says Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt moves up to 2 spaces to be within range of as many investigators as possible, then attacks each investigator within range. Now this is obvious because he's only got 1 individual to attack. He's already close to William York. So poor William's going to have to take this attack, so we'll go ahead and hit monster attacks. Vanderbilt, with arms uplifted, chants the words of some vile incantation. Within moments, you feel as if your flesh is being torn apart from the inside. Suffer 3 face down damage. Your lore negates. Okay, so William's lore is a 3. I'm going to take a quick look here to see whether I have anything that can help me lore-wise. No. So this is nasty. So really, with 3 face down damage coming to him. Now, if any character to get 3 face down damage, he's the one. But 3 face down damage, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 of that will put him into the wounded category. So let's hope we do our best here to negate as much as possible. We did not. So we're going to take, because I have nothing that can, I have no clues in order to change that magnifying glass to an elder sign, we are going to take 3 face down horror. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 3 face down horror puts us over. We are now officially wounded, so all of this damage is now discarded. I'll put this over here for now. We're going to have to take a wounded card. Now we've got 2 characters that are wounded. William York is now insane and wounded, which is bad. So really, William is on the brink of death here. If as of right now, his insane level is what's really putting him on the edge, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He only needs 2 more to go insane. Not good. Okay, so that's the end of that particular check. So now we're going to go ahead and hit continue. The deep one moves 2 spaces toward the nearest investigator when it attacks in a space. Now this deep one is the one that doesn't have the icon on it. That's this guy here. The closest investigator is going to be Father Matteo. It's not. It's just towards the nearest one, not the one in range. So he is going to go 1, 2, and end up in the same square. So he's going to attack. The deep one lashes out with his claws with an agility check of 2. So my agility is 3, and that's all I can roll with. So let's hope we can do as much as we can to stop this. Nice. Father Matteo doing a good job. Let's see. No, everything's good. So it's only if you fail something bad happens. So we were able to get past that check, no problem. Then it says the deep one, which is this one here, moves 2 spaces toward the nearest investigator, then attacks the investigator in a space. So it's going to also come into the same space as Father Matteo now, and it's going to attack. It says the loathsome deep one rushes forward, struggling to clamber up your body. Use your strength check for 2. My strength is going to be 4, so that's a decent strength check. Oh, sorry, this is the wrong individual. Let me think about this. Did I roll for the wrong run? Okay, sorry guys. In the last check, actually, the check was agility, sorry, but the Father Matteo actually had the same agility as William York, so sorry if I rolled the incorrect person there. But the agility was the same. They're both 3, so nothing changes. But we are going for Father Matteo here. My mistake. So for this guy here, he is coming towards Father Matteo. I need to do a strength check. His strength is 3. I have no other ability to roll anything further, so let's hope for the best. Nice, we got 2 elder signs. So it says if you pass, you hurl the thing aside. Perfect, so nothing happens. Awesome. Then it says each investigator must resolve a horror check against the monster within range with the highest horror rating. So we're going to do horror checks now. So let's do a horror check against Vanderbilt for William Yorick first. So we'll resolve that. Vanderbilt calls out to the stars begging for your demise. Use your that is your observation. My observation for William, who's in the room with Vanderbilt, is got a 4. That's pretty solid, so we'll go ahead and roll for that. I don't think I have anything else that can boost it, sadly, but we're only looking for a 2 to pass. We got it, no problem. So it's only if you fail that something bad happens, so we got that horror check without issue. Over here we have 2 deep ones, so Father Matteo is just going to basically go after a deep one in general. Doesn't matter which one it is because both of them are on his tail. So we'll choose this one here. It says the deep one scratches at itself idly, then tosses aside what seems to be a sawed-off skin. As it lands at your feet, you realize the skin is human, the exact same shade as yours. Suffer 2 horror, but your will -1 negates, and that's not good. My will is 5. I have no ability to do anything else to boost it, but I get a -1 on this check, and I need to get 2 to negate. So it's going to give me 4 dice to roll. So we're hoping for at least 2. We got 3. We negated everything on that horror check. That's awesome. So we were able to sustain all the horror checks and end the Mythos phase, moving into the investigator phase. This is currently how it looks, moving into the next phase. And my hope is in this very, very last phase that well, I shouldn't say last phase, in this next video coming up, we'll be able to put enough damage on Vanderbilt and maybe a deep one to keep ourselves alive, because it's really, really close. We're right down to the wire here. I think we could potentially have a win. We'll see how this pans out. If you guys like what you're seeing, give me a thumbs up. If you have any comments, please fire them in. Again, if you haven't subscribed, this is the first time you've seen the channel or just jumping in now, please subscribe. I really enjoy the fact the community is growing every single day. It's amazing. Thank you all for your support, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks again, and keep on rolling solo.